Hi guys, it's Sam Obi here from Paradigm Fitness and Accomplished Kettlebells. This week, in this week's newsletter, I want to talk to you about our base movements. Now, I'm going to keep this really quick and really simple. Our base movements govern life. When you get out of bed and as you're getting out of bed, you are performing one or a combination of these motions. In the gym, in how I work, I am always using one or a combination of these base movements. Whether it's squats or balance reaches or pivots or lunges or crawls or even cruffles, jups, something you might not have heard before, you are doing one or a combination of these movements. For example, when you run, rather than running, we could call it alternating hopping. What I'm doing, I'm standing on one leg, I'm hopping off the floor, landing on the other leg, and I'm repeating that motion, otherwise known as running alternating hops. We can do this in multi-planes. We can do this in, as I say, such a variety of different ways and tweak them in such a variety of different ways. It can make quite an intensive or extensive, exercise library. So I'm going to give you all the video demonstrations now. Do them all. Give them all a try. See how you feel. Give them a practice. And as I say, if you went through each one, go through 20 seconds of every one, put it into a little circuit. There's that many of them. As I said, it'll be a great little workout and a great little circuit for today. So give them all a try, and I will see you all next week for our next video. Okay, so we're going to start with exercises on the floor. These can be categorized into three. We've got crawls. As you can see now, a crawl is where your arms or your hands and your feet cross over as you move forwards. The next one that we've got is a cruffle. Now, a cruffle is pretty much the same thing, but as you can see here, the arms and the feet, or the hands and the feet, aren't crossing each other. And both these can be done through three planes. And the last one, which is a crump. Now, a crump is a crawl and a jump. So on all fours, just jumping forwards, all four limbs have to leave the floor. And all of these three can be done through three planes of motion. The next few exercises we're going to look at is when we're moving forwards or moving, or what we call locomotion. Now, the first one we're going to look at is obviously a walk. Really simple. Your limbs have to cross over, and this can be done as a walk or even a run. The next one we're looking at is a shuffle. Now, similar to the cruffle, your feet can't cross over as you move forwards, and you're just shuffling away. And the final one is a skip, and this is where you have a little hop in between each step. So little hops in between, and the skip can be done, as I'm going to show you now, in a sideways plane as well, as I disappear there. So with a little hop in between each movement as you step through. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is a jump. Really simple, 2 feet together, you take off with 2 and you land with 2. And again, as you can see, we can do it in sideways motion or even rotations, as you're going to see now, as I spin through 180 degrees. And these exercises are really good for getting your heart rate nice and high. The next exercise that we've got is a hop. Now, a hop is from one onto one. Now, this can either be left onto left or right onto right, as I'm showing you here. But they can also be left onto right. You can do it through movement. You can do it standing still. I'm going to go through a bit of a rotation here as well, I think. So this is going from right onto left at the moment. And as you can see, we can really start moving around and being experimental with it. Now, the last one we're going to look at in terms of movement, I think, is a jump. Now, a jump is between a jump and a hop. You take off with 2 and land on 1, or take off with 1 and land on 2. And this can be done through movement, as I'm showing you here now, or it can be done standing still in those 3 planes of motion. So now going into more standing still exercises, we're going to start off with the squat. Okay, so a squat is basically where your pelvis travels downwards towards the floor with your feet planted on the floor. Really simple. This can be done in any way, shape or form with any foot position. We're going to go through that at some point in later videos. But as you can see here, I've got one foot slightly out in front than the other. Both feet are staying planted, my pelvis is traveling downwards. I can also do it in a single leg squat as well. So on one leg with my pelvis traveling down towards the floor. Again, you can use different foot positions and go through slightly different things, but that is your squat, pelvis lower into the floor. The next being a lunge, which is where you basically step away from your body and then step back in. Really simple. Again, can be done through 3 planes. We've got the forwards and backwards there. We've got the sideways lunge here. And I don't think I go into the rotation one. No, we can do a rotational lunge too. The next we've got is a pivot. Now, a pivot is where one foot stays still and the other one travels forwards and backwards around that. You can go forwards and backwards. You can also go side to side as well, which I think is what I'm going to show you here. So the 1 foot stays still. I go into a side lunge, and with the same leg I move across the other leg and back across. You can see I'm just pivoting on that left foot there, and then the right foot here going through my sidewards motions. Really good for getting the legs nice and worked. So the next exercise that we've got is a squat thrust. You'll have seen these before. A squat thrust, basically with 2 hands on the floor, you kick the feet away from the body and back in. Really simple. You can go into frontal plane movements by maybe going to a wide stance as you go out and then narrow as you come back in, or wide as you start and narrow as you go out. You can then play around with them, go into like different planes of motion, go a bit more sort of sideways kick outs. One thing I really like to do after the sideways is then go into some more rotational movements as well, as you can see here, really twisting the hips through and driving the knees back in to finish. Really good exercise, quite difficult at the same time. So the next exercise that we've got is a reach. Now reaches are fantastic for getting the abdominals reacting. We've got quite a long demonstration here because I wanted to give you all the ideas. So we've got a simple forwards reach there, reaching the arms forwards, and you can do this with a dumbbell, you can do this with medicine balls, anything really. As you can see, I'm reaching out to the side. I think I stick to one arm in a second there. Yeah, there you go. Really good at getting sort of the obliques firing up on that right side and then the left in terms of the sideways reaches. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go into some rotations and now reaching up and across the body. Again, really good, especially if you can try and keep the hips as still as possible for getting those abdominals reacting. You can reach in any sort of way, shape or form. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can also reach with 1 foot on the floor rather than 2 and really sort of challenge that stabilization. All of these exercises are fantastic for your abdominals. And one thing I used to do at the gym, rather than doing a general abs class, is get people with a dumbbell and start performing all these exercises. And I remember most people coming in 2 days later saying how much DOMs they got, sort of muscle soreness they got through that sort of session. So really good exercises there for your abdominals. A curl, really simple, is where a joint flexes up against gravity or with a resistance. So really simple there. You've got a bicep curl there. Curl doesn't have to be forwards and backwards. Here's one with a bit more rotation in there, but you can see my elbow still flexing. And then a bit of opposite rotation there as well, a bit of frontal plane movement too, as I come out to the side. And again, this one's fantastic for getting your abdominals reacting. You're doing a lot of sort of spinal movement there in your obliques. Your abdominals do have to react quite well. The next exercise we've got is a lift. Really simple, just lifting a weight off the floor. I'll go into slight different movements here as well, really start throwing that dumbbell around. Again, most of these exercises are so good for getting your heart rate nice and high. They can be fantastic improving your general fitness as well as good functional and three-dimensional strength as well. So there's a few lifts there. The next couple we've got, or one of the last two, we've got a press or a push. Really simple, pressing or pushing a weight away from our body. Again, you can go in different planes. I'm pushing out to the side there, first one above my head, then I think I start pressing across my body as well. So really getting that shoulder reacting in many different ways. Pressing behind my head too, again, really good for getting the abdominals reacting. And then the last one that we've got is a row, basically or a pull, a row or a pull. You can do this basically pulling a weight in towards your body. Really simple. I'll show you both sides there. Really keeping my sort of hand in a neutral position and my arm in a neutral position. As I show you from the front now, I then start taking the elbow a bit wider, targeting and getting my different areas of my back reacting to a different motion. I'll go on the other side as well. So you can see that elbow's coming out nice and wide there rather than staying quite close to my body in the first exercise I showed you. And then to finish off, I think we go double-handed. Again, slightly different, just to show you it doesn't have to be with one arm, you can pull with two. And you could always, if your resistance was out in front of you, you could always pull standing upright as well, like on a cable machine. That's also really good stuff. You can have good fun with that. And the last one being prone on the floor, going through my pulls there, or my rows.